Constellation is sponsored by HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit that's sent directly to your home. With HelloFresh, you don't have to worry about anything but execution. So will you give it a go? For free breakfast for life, go to hellofresh.com/freecon. That's HELLOFRESH.com/FREECON. One free breakfast item per box while your subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life just by going to hellofresh.com/freecon. Again, for awesome meal kits that can make your life easier, spice things up, and offer awesome variety, head to hellofresh.com/freecon. Constellation, Last Stand Media's conversational podcast, is brought to you by you. If you want to learn how to support our podcast network, head to patreon.com/laststandmedia.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Constellation. Why you everybody's immediately laughing. Welcome to Constellation, Last Stand Media's conversational podcast. I am Chris Reagan. I'm your host. It's unusual. This is the second time I've hosted a podcast on this whole apparatus. First one I did was the Sacred Symbols Plus about Bungie. Oh. And now we're doing Constellations. We're doing some new stuff over here. But remember, patreon.com/laststandmedia. Pop on over there, early access, all that stuff. So, man, I don't know how to begin this, man. How's everybody? This is an unusual permutation of people. Yeah, I don't think we've ever all three of us been on the same show, no. as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, this is highly unusual. But how's everybody doing? How are you doing, Locke? I haven't talked to you in a while.
Yeah, no, I'm great. I'm so excited to be on here with you guys because normally when I'm on, I'm usually like a backup, which I completely understand. So normally when I'm on, it's always either with Colin or Dagan. But when I'm on with Colin, it's always like, yes, sir, I can't screw up. Like I gotta be as professional as I can be. And then, when I'm on with someone like Jaffe or Gene, I have to be like, I have to pay attention really close to what they're saying because they're going really fast and highly intellectual conversations. So I'm so glad I'm on with like normal people now, so I can I can just talk with my friends, which is nice. So I'm awesome. Glad to be here with you too.
Yeah, this is the normal crew. These are actually I don't know. Mike is here, so I don't know. I don't know about that one. Micah, how are things going with you?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Chris, this is the most I've seen you, I think, ever. Because we did Constellation a few days ago, and then we did Summon Sign together. Now we're back, and it's like, I don't think I've ever talked to you this much in such a short sequence of time. And it's only funny because you had told me, we're getting a lot of comments that we need to do another Constellation together. And I was like, all right, yeah, we'll spin that up. So it had been so long since the last one that people were asking for it. And now we've gotten to do three shows together in the span of a week. So this is quite nice. Lockmort, always happy to see you, my friend. And Lockmort, you're not just a backup. I do now tell you like every month, like we want you on the show. You're no longer just filling in because somebody canceled on me. Like you are a wanted guest always. Wow. But you are also now like you're a premier guest. You're a regular guest on the show.
Oh, damn. So now that's when people start hating you, right? Or hating me.
Yeah.
Right? Damn.
That's now you'll get death threats and anthrax sent to your house.
Anthrax. Vintage.
Yeah, vintage terrorism.
Not again. Looking forward to it.
Oh man. Well, we got an interesting couple. I don't know how I want to start. Colin has his dice that he sometimes uses.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have anything like that. I don't have a cool little tchotchke or a little artifact that I can pull out to make a decision here. But I think I'm going to start with, I want to start with Micah's topic. So take it away. Intro.
Yeah. So my topic is Freaky Friday. And what I laid out for the guys in the email was, the basic rules, if you want to call it that. You're guaranteed to switch back. This is no risk that you're going to be stuck as the other person. Like you are guaranteed after 24 hours, you're going to switch back and everything will be back to normal. What I asked the guys to do was to pick first which Last Stand Media, host or staff person they'd want to switch with for a day, and also which celebrity. And then you can tell me too, like for example, if you chose, oh, I want to be George Clooney for a day. Well, do you want a normal George Clooney day or like a red carpet day? You know, like, do you want to be at the Oscars or you just want to be bebopping around Trader Joe's with him? So I wanted to kind of do that. I acknowledge, here's what got me thinking of this. I saw that I think they're redoing Freaky Friday, the Lindsay Lohan, Jamie Lee Curtis movie from from when we were children.
Yeah.
And what I realized is kind of how horrifying that is in the ways that Disney wasn't going to show you. But you think about Freaky Friday, and there is a certain creep factor to it. Here's the deal. At the end of that movie, for example, spoiler for a movie from like 2002, I think. I don't remember how old it is, but they kind of show that, oh, they were going to switch the grandpa with like the 10-year-old boy. Are you telling me you're going to give that 10-year-old boy grandpa's balls for an afternoon? Like the horror of being 10 years old and having to inhabit some 70-year-old man's body and be like, oh my God, this is what happens. Like, these are the things you don't think about, but I did. And I kind of thought, okay, well, Freaky Friday is kind of weird. Well, let's apply this to my coworkers, you know, and see how this would actually work. Because the other thing, like, I'm thinking about, what if I switched to Locke? Okay, it'd be cool. On the one hand, I'd get to smoke my first cigarette. No regrets, no consequences. This man already smokes. I get to have one. That'd be pretty cool. But am I ready for a Belgian bowel movement? I don't know. I don't know what their bathrooms are like. Like, on the one hand, it'd be an easy way to travel. But am I prepared for what I might discover? Or what if you wanted to be me, but only for the purpose of sleeping with my husband, Colin? That'd be weird. It'd be weird if I found out you did that. So there's a lot of things I think about with Freaky Friday that's not quite so, you know, cute as these movies we see as kids. Yeah. But I want to dive into this. And I want to start with my pick. I figure we'll do the LSM staff first, and then we can do our celebrity picks, right?
Sure.
So LSM staff, as I said, I almost chose Locke because it would be a really cool way to travel without going anywhere. But I think I would choose Cog, honestly. And here's why. Picturing me getting to like lift up a bunch of heavy stuff, like with ease. I'm at the grocery store. I'm lifting up the case of water. I'm not breaking a sweat. I'm having a great time. Like, picturing me just like bebopping around town as Cog, like my anger, his physique, it would just be such an open invitation for mischief. I get in so many fights as him and maybe win a couple. Like, it feels like a great idea. I almost chose Brad because Brad's really tall, like really tall. Yeah. But then I said, I'd have to get my sea legs. You know, I wouldn't be used to it. Like, on the one hand, it'd be cool to try it out, but I'm going to be stumbling around all day. So that just didn't seem great. So I think Cog would be the move. And maybe I'd do some stuff like go to a friend's house, move all their furniture around. You know, just use my strength. And they'll be like, man, Cog, like, what are you doing? It's like, be like real mean to them. You know, they wouldn't see it coming. That's how I would use that time. Locke, tell me, who would be your choice, LSM staff or host, that you'd want to switch with for a day?
Well, I thought really hard about this, and I think the obvious answer at first would be you. Because as a white man, what better chance to spend a day as like a black woman, right? That would be such a perspective shift. There's no bigger thing to switch to. But then I figured, well, because you said in your email, well, there's also negatives. And I think the negative then would be like I would have to sleep with Colin. Maybe that's not a negative. I don't know. Maybe that's awesome. I don't know. Maybe I'll enjoy it very much. But it would also be like maybe a conflict of interest. I wouldn't feel right doing that because he's married. So that doesn't seem fair. That doesn't seem right. So the other thing I came up with was Maddie. Because I've been working with Maddie for close to 4 years now, which is a pretty long time. And I've seen Maddie grow up from like a very young person to a slightly older person. And Maddie has like the worth ethic of a horse. Like, I've never met anyone in my entire life who works as hard as Maddie. So I want to know where he gets the energy from. Yeah, there has to be like some kind of superpower he possesses, or something he does, or well, he doesn't take drugs. I think I'm not going to say that, but You never know. But
no, yeah, you switch to Maddie, and you're like, I wonder what's in the basement. It's like a meth lab down there. Like Walter White's down there cooking. Like you just find out, like, oh no, this is how it all goes.
he's macro dosing every day.
But yeah, Maddie is such a great guy. He's a great friend. One of my best friends. He's amazing. I love Maddie. But his work ethic is insane. He can churn out videos. I've been working on one video for like a month now, and it's only an hour long. Yeah. Oh yeah. Chris, yeah. You know way better. But Maddie can churn out videos every single day. And normally you would say like, well, maybe they're just easy videos. But no, he actually plays every single game that's in his videos. He watches every movie that he makes a video about. He does everything. I don't know how it's possible, but he does it. He just works 24/7 all the time. He just came back from LA last week where he was also working. And while he was in LA, he was also working, making videos, playing games while being in the hotel room and stuff. So he's just constantly working. So I must know where he gets his energy from. I must know the secret because I want it. So yeah, Maddie's my answer.
You see, it's funny to me just because you're like, he's working 24/7. I'm like, that sounds terrible. Why would you want to do that? Now, you want to possess the secret. I understand. This is like a Snow White type thing. Like, oh, I'm the evil queen. I want to possess the secret. Exactly. But I'm just like, man, this sounds like torture. You just want to work for all day? Like, I wanted to be Cog and just go to the gym and feel powerful. And you're like, you know what? I want to go to work. I just want to go work all day long. You're losing me on this one, Locke. I don't know.
Well, I could also secretly up my pay by like 10% or something. So something small that he wouldn't notice. So
that's true.
So there we go.
Mail yourself a bunch of sourdough bread. Just get yourself set up.
That's the bonus. Is sourdough bread?
Oh, yes. Maddie's fiance is like known for making excellent sourdough bread. Yes.
Oh, really?
So that would be. Yeah. So that would be like an ultimate perk. I mean, I would switch to Maddie just to eat a bunch of that bread. That's for sure. That'd be pretty cool. And maybe get the recipe.
Yeah, but then you'd get Maddie fat. You'd probably abuse
these consequences aren't mine. Like
exactly.
Here's the thing. Like, you do have to wonder: would you treat the other person with respect? Like, we all know each other, and they're going to be you for the day. So, like, do I want to leave, Maddie in good condition, basically? Do I want to load him up on bread and cheese and then not knowing, like, well, I don't know what he was doing when he was me. Did he have a salad or did he go down to McDonald's? I don't know. So it's a risk reward thing. Maybe would you text the other person and kind of check in?
Do they know? Like, is it with consent or do they just switch without knowing?
Well, so, I mean, they would realize that they're you, right? Like, you would switch. And then Maddie would be like, whoa, wait a minute. I recognize this house. Then he'd go out there and Colin would be out there and he'd be like, what the fuck is going on here? And Colin would be like, hello, wife. But, do we tell people? Would people believe you? Like, if you do this switch, do you tell, like, hey, by the way, I'm not really Maddie? Or is he going to get committed? Like, you switch back to your body and he's like in a mental hospital now. I don't know.
That wouldn't seem fair. Maddie's a good guy, so I wouldn't do that to Maddie. I would make sure, I would try to make his life better. I don't know how, because he already has an awesome life. But I would try to do something nice for him too while I'm there anyway. But he also looks so great. So I want to know what he eats. I just want to know how he lives. Like, that guy is like a perfect human being. So I want to know how this possible. He doesn't smoke. He doesn't drink. He works out. I don't think he eats a lot. Like, he looks perfect. He like a perfect human being. So I want to know how it's possible.
We're getting a little Silence of the Lambsy over here. I don't know, Locke. It's kind of like, I want to wear his skin.
I hope he doesn't see this, but yeah.
Oh, he's gonna see it because you know what? No, this is actually hysterical. Like, this would not make the cut for a Lockmore edit. He's just gonna edit all this out, take all this out.
That's yeah. I forgot. I'm editing this episode, so I could just switch I'll just stop at Micah. I'll pick Micah. There we go. Micah's my answer.
That is crazy.
Well, Chris, what are you thinking? Which Last Stand staffer would you want to be?
Yeah, dude. So at first I thought, Colin, because I want to see what is that schedule like exactly? Like, he tells me that he wakes up late And like I don't know how much he's smoking these days. I don't know if he's still doing the OMAD diet thing.
Oh,
I'm
yeah, we're still doing that.
I'm curious as to how this whole thing works. But like, honestly, I think COG is my answer for a couple of the reasons that you said, but also just because like I feel like I would do so well, you know, because we're from kind of the same place, but like I've had to be on my toes in the Bronx, you know what I mean? I feel like, or like in this area where I grew up, I feel I'm small, you know. I gotta be skittery, I gotta be quick, I gotta be like agile. I have my headphones on, but nothing's playing. You know, I gotta be aware. Oh. But I feel like with COG's strength and build, I feel like I could confidently enjoy my time in places that I otherwise would have been a little bit too wary of. You know, that alone is kind of a big one. You know, for me, I think generally that's kind of how I feel about it. I also thought about Brad because I do think like, man, it would be so interesting to be that freakishly tall.
He's so tall. Like
how tall is he?
He's 7'6", I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's 7'6" and 2 inch and he's 7'6.3", I think. But it's just that's an experience I will never have, you know? Like I will never be tall, which is fine, but it's also like there's a point of curiosity about that where it's like, but then I also am concerned that I've gotten so used to like this existence where like I'm not really thinking about bumping my head on anything. Am I going to concuss Brad or potentially like brain damage Brad? Like, am I going to trip and then, you know, because my head's so high up, will I collapse onto the ground and, you know, explode basically? Will I do permanent damage to Brad is my concern. You know, that's my main issue with all of this, honestly, is just like, I don't know how.
Constellation is sponsored by HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit that's sent directly to your home. Learn more now at hellofresh.com/freecon. That's FREECON. If there's one thing I know, it's that life is very busy. I own 2 businesses and have things to do literally every day without fail, virtually no days off. For those of you out there who have equally grueling work schedules plus kids, well, I don't even know how you keep up with it all. A great way to buy yourself some time, though, and to introduce a little variety into your life too, is with HelloFresh, the high-quality meal kit that's mailed directly to your home, chock full of all of the ingredients you'll need to make some awesome dishes for yourself, your family, and whoever else you have to feed on your journey through this ever-hectic life. Plus, HelloFresh is simply much healthier than resorting to old standbys like eating fast food all the time, and honestly, who doesn't love a home-cooked meal? So here's what you do. Head to hellofresh.com/freecon and begin customizing your menu of dishes with an amazing 50 recipes available to choose from each and every week. Then get the ingredients needed for your chosen dishes sent to your home for as many meals as you choose for that week, and boom, it's time for you to get to work in the kitchen. But that's where the fun really begins, because HelloFresh walks you through the entire process with detailed recipes, and if you have certain preferences, those can easily be catered to as well. Whether you're looking for vegetarian options, quick and easy dishes, proteins and meats, and really whatever else you can think of. Listen, I first tuned into the world of meal kits when I still lived in California years ago, and I have to say I really enjoyed the process. This is especially true because I like what I like and get stuck in predictable food ruts. If you're feeling like me, a service like HelloFresh can jolt you out of your complacency and introduce you to a whole new world of ingredients and dishes you didn't even know exist. This is perhaps the best part of all of this, finding things you'd like but didn't know how to make or how to source the appropriate ingredients for, and so on and so forth. With HelloFresh, you don't have to worry about anything but execution. So will you give it a go? For free breakfast for life, go to hellofresh.com/freecon. That's HELLOFRESH.com/FREECON. One free breakfast item per box while your subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life just by going to hellofresh.com/freecon. Again, for awesome meal kits that can make your life easier, spice things up, and offer awesome variety, head to hellofresh.com/freecon.
There's a premise about Freaky Friday that is inherently a problem, where it's like, if your brain, because it can't just be your personality thrown into the other person's brain, right? It has to be like, I mean, philosophically, that's how it works, but it would really have to be your brains like physically swapping place. Otherwise, you're not the same person, right?
Yeah.
So technically, Locke, you wouldn't learn anything from being in Maddie's body because it's just your brain. just in Maddie's body, just like
God damn
with
it.
the same stresses and the same anxieties.
Well,
that
you
would
know, he'd
already
get to open
exist.
up the fridge. You know, he'd get to open the fridge and see what's in it. Maybe Maddie
Yeah.
has like a shopping list that Locke could peruse. Maybe he has a schedule written down on the fridge, perhaps.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there would be something to glean, but you're right that he
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
inherently just like absorb Maddie's positivity.
It would be more like Locke was infiltrating. You know what I mean? It would be almost like a
No, it's
stealth.
scary.
It would almost be like a stealth mission where like you would still have to find all of like the, you know, you would have to find all of the little lore bits, you know, on your own. You wouldn't just intrinsically know them. So that's what's always. Oh, by the way, Freaky Friday, apparently, like I looked this up just out of curiosity. You said 2002, which was like the Lindsay Lohan, Jamie Lee Curtis movie.
Yeah.
Apparently, and I think
remake.
it's that in and of itself was a remake. So like this is the third. This is like a Star is Born. There's gonna be like a million Freaky Fridays, but yeah, I think I gotta pick Cog, man. I want to know what it's like to be big and strong, you know.
Yeah, I also thinking of the like inverse of that, Cog waking up in my body and just being like, look at these little spaghetti arms I got now. Or like he tries to lift something up, it just like my shoulder just dislocates. Like he would not know his own strength if he was reduced to this. Or even
Yeah.
thinking if I switched with Brad and he's just like, the ceilings are so high. Like he would have. I think it'd be fun. I think it would be fun in both directions because Brad doesn't know what it's like to be us. I mean,
No.
I'm imagining at some point, of course, he was a child, I assume. I
He's a
assume he
little
wasn't
before,
born
yeah.
fully grown. I don't know. But it's probably been a while. You know, he'd probably be like, look, I can walk through a door and not have to duck down.
Yeah.
Like, you know, look, I can't dunk on this basketball hoop. There's got to be some good things.
Yeah, at
to
some
it.
point he must have been like maybe he was an unusually long fetus, but like generally speaking, I think we're all short at some point. I would love just to see how Cog would react in this vessel because it's so first of all, he would probably be shocked at how blind I am. I think that would be the first thing that everybody would really have a problem with, was that like they immediately, if you don't know where I put my glasses the night before, you'd be fucked ostensibly. Like
Oh,
there
yeah.
would be no way to get around. You'd have to like open your phone and use the camera to like see clearly, which I have done a couple times, by
That's
the way.
brilliant, though. I have never thought of that because, so, I mean, my eyesight, not as bad as Chris's, but I have very poor eyesight. There have been times in like previous relationship, like I woke up, couldn't find my glasses, but I had to ask my boyfriend to put on his glasses to help me find my glasses. I never considered using the phone camera as like a magnifying glass. That's
Oh, that's
brilliant.
smart. Yeah.
Chris,
That's-
look at
yeah.
you, adaptability.
Yeah, well, that's the reason you never thought to do that because you've never had to do that really. I technically speaking, I have to do that all the time. Like if I just forgot where my glasses were, which happens, you know, at least a couple times a year, it's just like, all right, the phone's coming out. I gotta find my glasses. And it does usually work, but it's just like, man, what an existence. And so
What about LASIK? Weren't you going to do LASIK, or have you?
yeah, I mean,
considered-
I'm flirting with it. I keep looking into it, and it keeps freaking me out, man. Like I keep seeing
Yeah.
like horror stories about it, or like people
Oh,
like their eye
no.
falls off or whatever, or like or even just
Yeah.
the surgery where it's like, oh, you can smell your eye burning, and it's like I think I could probably
Well,
get over that, maybe.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like,
that part's
but-
easy. Like that part's
Did you-
easy. Don't worry about
did
that.
you get LASIK?
Not yet, because I don't qualify yet. But no, I had to get my nose cauterized when I was a child. I also had to get my lip cauterized. I've smelled my flesh burning a couple times. You get over it. You
No,
get
no,
over
I
it
think-
real fast.
I think flesh is different than an eye, though. I feel like there's
I
something
don't-
about an eye that's probably unsettling.
I
in a
think,
way
I think when you're, it's like when you're, geez, how old was I? I must have been in middle school. So like, I think when you're 12 years old and like, you can like, I'm smelling my own skin burning. I think that would have freaked, it did freak me out at the time, but you get over it. You move past it. You look at the benefit
yeah.
because like,
It's-
wow, I no longer get nosebleeds every day. It was great.
I don't know how I feel about it quite yet because I will need glasses again. Like it's not like a permanent fix. You know what I mean? It's just like
No.
it'll correct your vision and then it'll deteriorate again. I mean, realistically, it's fine if it deteriorates again, because even if it were to deteriorate at a normal degree, if I got LASIK now, I'd probably be like where I am now by the time I'm like 60 or 70. So like whatever at that point, like who cares? I need to see shit.
I think like my Aunt Betsy got LASIK back in the day, like back when it was way scarier. And she ended up needing readers later on. But that was it. Like she went from like her vision was perfect for a good like probably 20 years. And then she ended up just needing reading glasses. And I was like, I'd settle for that easy. Just because like the cost of contacts and all this, like between contacts and glasses, it's hundreds of dollars a year. And maybe more depending on your prescription, depending on what you choose. So it's like, I'm heavily leaning towards it. I just don't qualify yet. I've sadly never qualified for LASIK. I'm hoping someday I will.
What do you have to do?
You have to have your prescription not change for 3 years, at least at the place I went to. That was their stipulation, was your prescription cannot change for 3 years. And that's never happened my entire life. Like my eyes just get a little bit worse each year. So that was number one. The other thing, they do tell you if you're a woman to wait until you've had children because your hormones fuck up your eyesight. And a lot of women end up like needing glasses after they have kids anyways. So you could essentially just ruin it. I don't know if I want kids or not. So that's a whole other thing of like, if I get this done and then decide I want kids, I could potentially just undo it. So I don't know. I'm all mixed up about it. I do want it though.
What do you know your prescription like for your eyes?
I wear my contacts are both -3. I think my left eye should be -3.25, but they kept it the same because they said it wasn't bad enough. So I just wear -3. Yours is probably like what, -15?
It's close. Mine's -10.
Oh my God. Because I say that because I know how bad my own vision is. Like I can't see myself in the mirror without my glasses on. Like I can't do my makeup, which is very simple, but like I can't do my makeup unless I'm like right up to the mirror. I can't do my hair without wearing glasses. Like I know how bad my own vision is. So like I hear that number and I'm like, holy shit, I'm at -3 and I can't fucking see a thing. And like that's fucking crazy, man. How are you alive?
I don't know, man. It's insane. It's funny though, because at a certain point there is like, you know, the concept of like diminishing returns. There is like diminishing losses after a while where like -5 to -10, like -10's worse than -5, but it's worse in such a nothing way because you can just see less of the things you couldn't see anyway. Like it's kind of weird. But I remember looking. Hold on, there was a thing I found that I think would be interesting to show you guys. Yeah, here it is. I'm gonna put it in the chat. So there's a way to simulate a negative prescription or whatever.
Oh,
and
I have seen these.
This one literally only goes up to -6. So mine's worse. Jesus.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Do you always wear your glasses? Always?
I mean, pretty much. Like, what opportunity? Like, what? There'd be no reason for me not to.
I have to wear glasses too, but I never wear them. I only wear them when I watch TV. Like, I can see anything right now either, but I only wear them when I'm watching TV. Because
because what are you probably? You're probably like minus like you're probably less than -1. Like you're probably like minus like point something. I would imagine if you're only using them for TV.
I literally can't see anything, but I've adjusted to it. I've been like this my entire life. I got glasses when I was 6.
What the hell are you talking about?
Wait, he's living like a mole.
No, it's not that bad. Like, but when I see your scale here on the website, you just showed me, right? Yeah. When I go to 0, I can see probably fine, but I think my vision when I don't wear my glasses and I'm outside is at between -3 and -4.
Oh my God, Locke, no. That's how bad my eyes are. You can't live this way.
But I have glasses. I have them right here. I just never wear them.
You don't wear them when you go outside?
I never wear my glasses. Well, I do now.
Do you just not want to see the world?
No, I don't see anything. Oftentimes when I'm walking down the street and somebody waves at me, I'm like, wave back. I don't know who it is. Like
This is absurd.
When I was a kid, I remember getting my glasses when I was 6, and my older brother told me, "You're gonna get bullied. Don't wear your glasses." So ever since then, I figured, well, I'm not gonna wear these things.
Crazy. That's one of your core senses.
Because, dude, if I literally would not feel safe leaving the house without my glasses, only because it's like, no, I can't see very far. I can't read a street sign unless I get... First of all, I wouldn't be able to drive. I would not be allowed to drive without my glasses. But it's like, I can't see street signs. I can't see people's faces. Like, somebody could be approaching me, waving at me. I'm just like, I can't identify this person until they're like 12 inches from my face. Like, Locke, this is crazy. You can't live like this. We need an intervention.
Well, I don't drive a car, so I guess...
It's not about driving the car.
But you're right, though. I can't read street signs or anything. When I take a train somewhere or a bus, I have to be like under the sign to read it. Otherwise, I have no idea what it says.
Isn't this like difficult?
This sounds like a nightmare.
No, because I'm used to it. I've been doing this ever since I was a kid. Like I don't know any other way.
Locke, hold on. Let me ask you something. Let me just ask you just a normal. Just if you're playing a video game, right? You have the option to run it at like, decent set. Do you choose to run it at like 200p?
No,
of course not. Right? It would be insane. It would be insane of you to do that. So why do you do that to your own site?
I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. When I go, I've actually never, ever, my friends probably don't even know I wear glasses. Like, I've never worn glasses out in public.
Can you see us?
I can see you, but I can see my screen, but I can't read your names on my screen. And my screen is like 5 inches from me, maybe 4 inches from me. I can't read your names. I can see your faces. But I can't read what it says.
I am gobsmacked by this.
I'm just picturing Locke at like a Starbucks and being like, "Can I get behind the counter? I can't read the sign.
Yeah,
like, let me just shimmy back here so I can see what it says."
Yeah, it doesn't happen. When I go to McDonald's or something, I can't read what's on the signs. Like, I have to like look at a menu or something, and then I can see it. When I'm editing, I wear glasses when I'm editing. I think that's the only time. And then watching TV, playing video games, and that's it. I think. Otherwise, I never ever wear glasses. I never take them with me either.
Yeah, I'm pretty much never not wearing my glasses. Like I unless I'm like sleeping. And even then sometimes I'd forget to take them off. Like, although that's like pretty rare because I've broken my fair pair of glasses sleeping in them. But yeah, I mean, people used to give me shit on Early Sacred all the time because I would tell people that I shower with my glasses on, but like I don't think you understand how like I need to like I don't know what to tell you. If you had -9, -10, you would understand why I wear my glasses in the shower. Not only just for the basic reason of like, why should I have to give up a core one of my major senses whenever I shower, like arbitrarily? That's very silly. But there could literally be like a Black Widow in the tub and I wouldn't see it. You know what I mean? Or just something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I have to know. Like, and bathroom bugs are the worst bugs.
I'm with you. I usually wear my contacts in the shower because if I'm not wearing them, I can't see my own feet. And like, there have been so many times when I've thought there was a spider in there and it was just a piece of hair. But like the number of times if I wasn't wearing my glasses, I'd be like, spider, and like freaking out. And it's just a hair. Exactly. So I wear my contacts usually in the shower and then I just take them out after the shower because I shower at night. Night shower supremacy. All right. If you're not night, first of all, whoever I Freaky Friday switch with, night showers. We're switching to night showers if you're not already on that. But I need to see. I can't do these showers without my glasses on.
Oh my God, man, that was. I'm really flabbergasted by it. Sweeney's the same thing, the same way, by the way. Like he needs glasses clearly. He needs glasses clearly. He refuses to wear them. But because he's like, I don't drive, I don't need him. It's like, all right, man, you're just choosing not to exist in the world at that point. Like, you're just like, you might as well just dream. You know, because I bet are your dreams in like
they're in HD 4K. No,
yeah, exactly.
My dreams are like 4K. Yeah, they're perfect. Yeah.
Oh my God, he only sees when he dreams.
Dude, you know what's crazy? This is a real story. I think I told this on an episode of like one of these shows before, but I remember I I got really bored at one point, like a couple of years ago. I think it was like 2019 or 2018, something like that. Had a lot of time on my hands, and I was like, one day I was like, I think I kind of want to induce sleep paralysis on myself.
No.
And so because it would happen sometimes, and it would freak me the fuck out, and I would like hallucinate, and I would feel fucking scared. And I was like, I'm just gonna try and make this happen, just so like I'm not afraid of it. You know what I mean? And so I also just to see if I could do it on purpose, and I managed to do it, but I didn't have my glasses on. And I hallucinated because that's what like sleep paralysis is. It's like you're half dreaming, you're half awake. So it's like you're the part of your brain that's like dreaming is like concocting shit, but you're like awake to perceive it.
It's so fucked.
It's really like when you're not expecting it, it's really scary. But when you do it on purpose, it's kind of funny and it's kind of cool. But like I did it on purpose, and I had my glasses off, and I hallucinated this like goblin at the corner of my bedroom, and he was like, "You gotta wake up, you gotta wake up." And he was like dancing. But what was crazy about it is like I didn't have my glasses on, so he was blurry. But I knew that he was a goblin. Like I intrinsically understood, like, oh, that's clearly a goblin. But it was like my brain was like, how do we make this real for him? So it like adjusted the hallucination. Because otherwise it would have looked really strange with this like really high fidelity PNG, you know, animated goblin dancing on a blurry 3D background. It would have looked strange, I guess. But
oh, dude, like I've never had the hallucination thing, and that freaks me out to consider. I've had sleep paralysis a couple times. It fucks me up every time of like I can't sleep for a week. Like I'll have sleep paralysis happen, and I just am so afraid of it happening again. I can't sleep. But I've never had the hallucination. All I see is that I can't open my eyes, and I'm just like trapped behind my eyelids. Is essentially what happens to me of like I'm trapped in my body and I can't open my eyes and I'm just like freaking out in there. But I've never seen anything. I'm glad. I don't want to see some weird blurry goblin. But like that lair, that freaks me out.
You can both do this? You both have that power where you can just like see things that aren't there? Or what? You said you were trapped in your body?
Oh, no. So do you know what sleep paralysis is?
Yeah, well, I know it from like movies where like people get like see like Chris's goblin or something, or like a creature or whatever. But I didn't know it was a real thing. I thought it's a real thing. A lot of people say like a common hallucination is like a witch like sitting on like on their chest or whatever. Like there's like it feels like there's like a lot of which sounds kind of hot, honestly. But like there's like a lot of weight. There's like a lot of weight on the chest, or like there's like a lot of weight on you, and that's what kind of makes you feel like you can't move. Realistically, your brain is like I looked into it a long time ago, but like the idea is like your brain is still in dream mode, so your body is shut down so that your body doesn't act out your dreams. And it's like basically like a misfire of switches when you wake up consciously before your brain is done shutting your body down so you don't activate during your dreams and stuff. So it's like this weird kind of like hallucination kind of mid-sleep, mid-wake state where like you just conjure shit up. It's crazy. It's happened to me like 3 times, not on purpose, and then that one time on purpose. So 4 times total in my life. So not super often, but I think I have the exact opposite because I can control my dreams. Like when I'm dreaming, most of the time. Sometimes I know that I'm dreaming and I can just do fun stuff.
That's lucid.
Is that too?
No, well, lucid dreaming, I think is you're aware that you're like I can lucid dream for a little bit, but then I get sucked back into the real world because my body's like, you're dreaming. This is a waste of your time. And then I just get sucked back into the real world. But for a little while, I can like Spider-Man swing around the city, you know, for a little bit, which is awesome. But lucid, the opposite, I guess, would be the opposite of sleep paralysis would be like, I guess, sleepwalking, I guess, right? Because like your body doesn't where you're active, but you're not even aware that you're doing anything.
And I used to do that too. Like when I was a kid, if you used to scare the shit out of my sister, we shared a room and we had bunk beds, and I was on the top bunk. And I would sleepwalk down from the top bunk, and it would scare the shit out of her because I would like descend the ladder, and she'd be like, Micah, and I'm not waking up. And I would just like exit our room like some fucking creature. And then my parents would find me the next day somewhere else in the house. I sometimes would end up downstairs, which was like really scary to think about, that like my my body's just walking around my house. I'm asleep. I don't remember any of this. And I wake up and I'm like in my dad's office downstairs. Like, how the hell did I get here? It's like there's something wrong with my brain, clearly. I have so many problems with sleep. But like for me, Locke, with sleep paralysis, it's that my brain wakes up and I just can't move because, like Chris said, your brain's trying to prevent you from kicking in your sleep or whatever. But I wake up and I can't open my eyes. I can't move my arms or legs. And I'm just you're just laying there waiting for your body to activate. And it's just, it always feels like you're going to be stuck there forever. Like you tell yourself, you tell yourself it's only been 5 seconds, but it feels like I'm going to be stuck this way forever. Like I'm going to be trapped in here. It's like an hour's going to go by. I'm going to hear Colin wake up and he's not going to realize I'm like in a coma and I'm going to be stuck here. It's always that panicky feeling of like, I can't get out.
It's upsetting. It's because then you just like, oh man, I remember waking up one time, or like one of the first times it happened to me. It's like, oh no, I'm Stephen Hawking, but I'm not smart. So like it's over. Like they're gonna toss me into the fucking junkyard. They're not even gonna know I'm dead, or they're not even gonna know I'm awake. That shit's scary, man. Yeah.
How long does it take? How long is it? Is it like hours or is
it's seconds usually. Like it's like
it just feels terrible.
Yeah, being paralyzed even momentarily is a really terrifying feeling.
Yeah, the panic sets in.
Yeah, it gets existential real quick because then you're like, oh my God, this is almost body horror kind of. Because imagine, because people have this experience for their lives, you know what I mean? Like, so you start to think that way and you're like, oh man, I really hope this doesn't continue for too much longer.
Dude, have you ever heard of locked in syndrome? I heard about this and it became like my new medical fear because this woman essentially died because her parents, she was like in her 30s and her parents sort of just let her like waste away. But she had this thing called locked in syndrome where she was like awake, her eyes were open, but like she never spoke, never moved. And they just kind of let her starve to death. But it was almost like a conscious coma, basically. And she's just trapped in there. I know. Once I heard about it and I was like, new fear that I'm just going to one day just be laying here completely aware and I can't do a damn thing about it.
Wait, can you not move your eyes or anything to indicate that you're awake?
Well, she had her, like the one photo they had of this lady, her eyes were open. So I believe that you can see what's around you, but you just can't move and can't speak.
That's so
like her brain was still working. So like she knew her parents were starving her to death, but she couldn't do anything about it. And I was like, oh my God.
How does it happen? Do you have to like hit your head or something? Or how do you get in the state like that? Do you have to?
I don't remember what her specific case was, if it was like a physical injury or what. I saw this a while ago and I was like, wow, that's terrifying.
God, it makes me so angry. Like, I don't like that at all. Like, there's already so much to worry about. And now I have you just introduced this random kernel of like this low probability chance of ever even remotely seeing this occur or being around it at all. But I'm gonna think like, man, what if?
Well, I couldn't live with it myself for the rest of my life. I had to pass it on to somebody else. Now I feel better, and that's how the cycle goes.
That's so terrible. I think about that in like even just every time I get on a plane, you know. Just like, I don't like this. Even though that statistically look, you're safer on a plane, right? Like you're like so unlikely to crash in a plane, right? However, if you are on a plane that is currently crashing, that's like 100% chance then at that point. That's why chance doesn't mean anything to me. Yeah. Like I bet everybody on every plane crash was like, what are the odds?
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, I hate flying. And like one of our recent trips, we hit the worst turbulence I had ever experienced. And I really did have a moment like we might die here because like the turbulence was so bad. I actually like bounced like up out of my seat, like where I had my seatbelt on because I'm a good egg. But it really was like, oh my God. Okay. Like I have just been lifted out of my seat and violently thrown back into it. We're going to die in here. Like I was not having a good time. I already don't like flying. And you know, Colin always says the plane wants to stay in the air. The plane doesn't want to crash. And I'm like, it doesn't know shit. All right. The plane is trying to murder me.
Yeah. Unless it's a Boeing. See, that changes my plan. Like now I would want, if I would do a Freaky Friday, I would get on, I would switch with Micah and then get on a red eye the next day. and then you'd wake up on a plane.
It's torture.
Isn't that
You know, I
terrible?
find if I wake up as you, I'm gonna throw the glasses down the garbage disposal and crunch them all up, and then I'm just gonna lay down and wait to switch back.
Yeah, you're gonna go. Yeah, you're gonna throw my glasses away and then take me to a Imagine Dragons concert.
Oh
And then-
no,
and
even
then-
I don't
and
want to
then
do
try,
that.
And then try to nap. So I wake up blind. I can't even think of a worse experience than waking up blind in the middle of an Imagine Dragons concert. That really is like my.
Oh.
Okay, like that guy is so cool. Can you imagine being that guy? Like because it's like you see him, he's playing the saxophone. It's like that's cool. And then he switches to like a flute. And this dude is
Yeah.
just like a
He's got
savant.
he's got like a theremin. It's crazy.
Like that would totally be an answer. My serious answer, though, would be I'd want to be one of my favorite Boston Bruins players. My favorite player is Matt Grzelcyk. I wouldn't want to play in like a playoff game. Stakes are way too high. I don't remember how to ice skate. I hope that there's some muscle in my version of Freaky Friday. Yeah, it's my brain in there, but like I hope there's some muscle memory. Like you'd think
Right?
that
Yeah.
the body would do something, right? So
Yeah.
I'd love to be down on the ice. Maybe just practice. Maybe that's even better. Maybe I just choose to switch with him on a day that's just practice and no game. But just to actually be down on the ice like that, first of all, I get to meet all the other players, which would be really cool. But that would be my celebrity pick because whenever I'm watching sports, I try to visualize like what do the players see from their vantage point? What are they seeing down on the field? What are they seeing on the court? And it's kind of a cool little exercise to do. Just try and put yourself there. But to actually do that, like obviously I've never gotten to play hockey ever, and I never will. I'm far too old and too frail. But it would be super cool to get to play hockey even just once. Obviously, way cooler to get to be a Boston Bruin. It's one of those things that like every little kid from Massachusetts.
There's two answers to this for me that are both selfish for different reasons. The first one is Elon Musk. I would
Oh.
inhabit Elon Musk. I would destroy Twitter. Like actually, like I would go into the head. I would
Pull the
unplug
plug.
everything. I would pull the plug. I would like, you know that scene in Breaking Bad where they break the meth lab to Freestyle by Talib. Like
No.
it's of course it's gone. Like Twitter's gone. If I'm Elon Musk for a day, then wiring a bunch of money over to me, obviously, and just tweeting a bunch of insane, like already more like way like incoherent stuff, like stuff from every single possible like political angle, even if it makes no sense, like just incoherent, just to really disrupt this person. And I would just wreak havoc as Elon Musk, basically. But I would save the world as well because Twitter would be gone. And I think that would be a net positive. The other more personal, selfish angle is Dave Franco. So Dave Franco is James Franco's brother.
Yeah.
And James Franco's brother, Dave Franco, is married to Alison Brie, and I have a huge crush on Alison Brie. So it'd just be to spend the day with Alison Brie. That would be. But knowing my luck, it would be on a day that they're like fighting or something. But those would be like. I thought a lot about this, and these are really the only two that I have even any idea about. It would be funny to be Willem Dafoe for a day too, just to argue with yourself in the mirror. I think that, but I would do the whole. That would be my whole day as Willem Dafoe. I would just be like talking to myself in the mirror.
Because I don't want to touch anybody. All right. Like those strange women, leave me alone. All right. Like if anything, I maybe would go fuck some dude. But it's just like I don't want to touch any weird women. Okay. So leave me out of that. It's because there's some other players I considered, but it's like, no, that guy's married. I don't want to deal with that. That guy has kids. Who the fuck wants to deal with that? So I was like, okay, this guy, I believe, is single, has a dog. This is perfect. All right. This is ideal. Get to see what he's got in the fridge. Maybe he's got some yogurt, bananas or something. I don't know. You guys ever put bananas in the fridge? They come out really good.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they get that because they turn black, which does not look good, but they get that really almost like soft serve consistency. Like a banana in the fridge is almost a dessert. But Lockmore.
You wait until they turn black, and that's when you eat them.
Well, Well, you want to be like fully cold all the way through it. Oh, they turn black in like a day when they're in the fridge. It doesn't take long at all. But
what bananas are you getting that they're turning black in a day? Like that's not that's not something that should be happening.
well, no, the fridge makes them turn very quickly. The cold does it. Do you normally keep bananas in the fridge just averagely?
I mean, not
keep them
averagely.
on the counter.
Like, sometimes I put them in the fridge, but like most of the time I put them on the counter. But like I've never put them in the fridge with the intent of like making them turn black faster.
Well, I'm not doing that on purpose. It's just a side effect of being in the fridge. That's what happens to the peel. I'm not doing this. All right. I'm not doing it on purpose. I just want the banana on the inside to get that soft serve quality. Maybe it takes like 2 days, but you put a bunch of bananas in the fridge. I can't eat them all in a day. How many bananas am I allowed to eat in one day? I Googled that once. We're gonna
that's a real problem, by the way. Like that's happened. I've noticed this with me too. Where it's like I'll look up something and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I'm glad I know that now. And then I immediately throw it away because I just know I can find it again if I need it. It's really not good.
I'm gonna Google it right now. How many bananas can I eat in a day? Because I was worried about the potassium, and of course, I'm such a hypochondriac. Oh wow, you should be sticking to 1 to 2 bananas per day. Oh my God. Because I was going to eat a second banana and I was like, am I allowed? You know, and I was like, I don't know. So I guess that's why I didn't do it. I guess 1 banana a day is already pushing it. And Locke's over here like, I eat 6 bananas a day.
Yeah, when I buy bananas, I eat all of them in like 1 or 2 days. But it's also, if you have like a banana that's like black and you put it in the fridge or you put it somewhere else and you put other bananas with it, they get darker faster. Like they adapt to the one banana who's over. So maybe you already have like a black banana in your fridge and then the other ones do it too.
So you're overdosing on potassium. You're neglecting your eyesight on purpose.
It's no wonder he wants to be Maddie so bad. Well, like Lockwort's life is looking. We gotta help you, man. There's too much potassium.
I will say, apparently, carrots are really good for your eyesight.
Yeah,
and that would make sense because I'm not a carrot guy.
Oh,
not big on carrots personally, which would make sense. That's why I'm so blind. But all right, so yeah, so yours was Micah. Who was the celebrity?
Oh. Matt Grzelcyk, the player for the Bruins. Locke, who's your celebrity pick?
Mine would be someone, I don't know if you know this guy. I know him very well, but it's our king, our Belgian king. Because we have a monarchy here, and I have a very adversarial relationship with our king. Because somehow throughout my life, our paths have crossed multiple times. When I was in kindergarten, our king was like the prince, and he would visit our kindergarten for some reason. Like it was protocol, and he would visit us. And then apparently I did something that I wasn't allowed to do, and I got punished for it. So I got put in the corner back then. I still don't know what I did, but I remember my parents being very upset with me because I broke protocol and I said something or I did something to our prince. So ever since then, I didn't really like the guy. But I also remember when I was in college, when I went to film school, our queen came to visit our film school because I went to well, we only have one film school because that's why probably it's prestigious. But we only have one film school here, and our king and our queen came to visit them. So I had to talk to them there, and I had to show them around, and they were very mean to me. Well, maybe not. Maybe mean is not the right word. They were very uninterested. So then I acted uninterested too, and they clearly didn't like that. So that wasn't a very fun visit. And then a couple of years ago, I was working for a school here. It was just on the brink of COVID. I was working for a school with kids with learning disabilities, and I was making a documentary about them. The school paid me to make a documentary about them. And our king's son, the prince, was in that school as well. But I got clear instructions not to film the prince. Like I wasn't allowed to film the prince. I could film everybody else, interview everybody else, but not the prince. So I remember one day when I got there with my camera equipment, I was like 6 months into the documentary. The security guy took all my stuff and wanted to review everything. And I told him, like, that's not going to happen. I have like hundreds of hours here. You can watch through it. But he said like, no, because the king wants to. He wants to make sure that our son isn't here. So I would pick our king just to fuck with him. I would like mess up his day. I don't know what he does all day. I don't think he does a lot. because we have of course just have like ministers, and we have like a government, and the king doesn't really do anything in the government. But if I was king for a day here, I would fuck off everything. I would like torch his palace, or I would I would like ruin his garden or whatever. I have no idea what he does. I actually know. I want to know what he does all day, because I don't think he does anything. I hope nobody watches this. Now I think about it, I hope nobody from my country watches this, because then I could very well be in trouble. But yeah, I wish I could spend a day as our king just to see what he does.
No, that's a good answer. That's a good answer. You go take a shit in his garden, eat a bunch of Belgian waffles, make them all fat. Like, these are all valid plans.
It's good.
Yeah, this was an interesting exercise. I'm glad we did this. We had a little segue into talking about our horrible sleeping patterns, but this was fun.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
I find conversational podcasts are best when they get derailed.
Yes.
On occasion. I love that.
Yeah.
But are you satisfied?
Oh yeah. This was cool. I'm glad too. Nobody got into the idea of like, oh, I'd switch to Micah and then like run her car off a bridge right before we switch back. I'm glad nobody said that. I'm glad nobody tried to kill me. Maybe that's part of why I did this exercise, just to see if either of you wanted to kill me, because I was a little scared.
Yeah, I did put you on a plane technically.
That's true. But I don't think you were trying to kill me.
No. Maybe put you in an uncomfortable position, but that's far from murder, I think.
I know, you didn't like leave me. Do you guys know about the Nutty Putty cave disaster?
Oh yeah.
Oh my
like,
God.
At least you didn't like you shimmy your way in there, like eat this, and then like we switched back, and I'm just like,
that really pissed me off, man. Like that whole
my God.
That whole thing made
terrible.
me so genuinely upset. Like,
yeah.
Because it's like, how neglectful of your own existence do you have to be to even pursue something like that? Like, I just didn't he have like a 1-year-old daughter, like a kid or something?
They called his family so he could say goodbye before he, like, because he was losing consciousness because he was stuck upside down, and they did call his family so he could say goodbye, and it's like, oh my God, it's just worse.
Yeah, he's still in there too, right? Like they just closed it off with him.
Oh well, yeah, he'd be a skeleton now, but yeah, he's in there. Cave disasters, like, I'm so claustrophobic, and there was one of them I read about where like these like 5 young people, like maybe like late teens to 20s, they all went into this cave, and part of it was an underwater passage. So they like swim through it, they get to the cave, they have to leave one at a time because the passage is so narrow. But the first person going out of it got stuck. And so then but they didn't know that. So one by one, they would enter the water channel, and they each got stuck in sequence, and they all died in there. And I was just like, why are you doing this? I can't fathom ever doing this. Why? There's a special cave and you got to swim to it. And I'm like, is there pictures on the internet? I'll look at those. Like, this is crazy that anyone would do this for fun.
Yeah, guess what's deeper in the cave? More cave. I've solved the mystery for you. It's just I don't know. Spelunking is one of those things where like I can't look. There's a lot of needless tragedy in the world that demands a lot of sympathy, and I cannot afford to spend it with spelunkers.
No.
Man. I can't do it. Like you trapped yourself in a cave. Good. Honestly, like good. Like stay there. In fact.
But remember, like a decade ago, those Thai school kids or soccer team or whatever got stuck in a cave, and then Elon Musk had to go save them.
One of them just like died.
Yeah, that the one? Is that the one where like somebody suggested an alternative way to save them, and then he called them Elon Musk called them a pedophile or something? It's a wild world that we're living in. But anyway, let's see. Like, what do we? I think. All right, I actually think locks is a good way to end it. So I'll go next. My topic is kind of piggybacking off of the last episode that I was on, where I wanted to bring up exotic animals that we were like obsessed with or interested in or curious about. This one is kind of the opposite, but in the same vein. What I want to know, is there a creature, insect or otherwise, animal, seafaring, skyfaring, landfaring, whatever, that you would be excited to see just poofed away, just gone, off the planet forever, never to lay eyes on one again? Because there's a lot of animals that are just going away that I don't mind. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I'm always sad to hear about like a new parrot that's gone. You know what I mean? It's like, that's the set. Like that blue. There was like I don't think it was a Pixar movie, but it was like a DreamWorks or like an animated movie about I think the blue macaw. Like,
is it Rio?
Yeah, Rio. That thing's gone, by the way. Like that bird's just gone. That movie came out like a decade ago, maybe. It's gone now. But and it's just like, that's sad. But then I look at that and I'm like, why are they going away and not these horrible other creatures that I think should go, like, that shouldn't have been here in the first place, right? And so I'll kick us off. I do not see the value in mosquitoes at all. I do not see their purpose. I've looked into it. Okay. I researched, like, what do they do for the environment? And they say, they help pollinate flowers, which is like the most producer credit thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, you do not pollinate fucking, are you insane? No, you don't. The idea that they would even put that on their resume is outlandish. But so, and they feed like some birds, and maybe some birds would go away as a result. But like, I don't know, some birds for all mosquitoes, I think, is a pretty solid deal. There's plenty of birds already that don't need mosquitoes. Do we need the birds that need mosquitoes? If anything, the mosquitoes need the birds that need mosquitoes, like, because they justify their existence. We don't need this. We don't need this cycle of, nepotism going on. So, I'm sure there are others that I'm going to come up with as the conversation goes. But that's where I want to kick it off. I cannot stand mosquitoes. They bite little kids in the head and they fill their heads with water and then they kill the kids. It's gross.
They do what? They fill their heads.
You don't know about this,
like Zika virus.
Yeah. They fill your kid's head up with little globules of water, and it's all you got. Water-headed fucking kids getting eaten alive by mosquitoes in sub-Saharan Africa. It's evil, man.
That's bad.
Yeah. So the mosquito can go away. What about Micah? What about you? How do you? What came to mind when I suggested this?
A few things. I mean, mosquitoes were first because growing up in rural Western Mass, we would periodically get alerts for West Nile virus and also Triple E, which I think is Eastern equine encephalitis. And you had to, like, it was important to wear bug spray back home during the peak of summer because this was a real threat. Like, West Nile is in your hometown. And I thought of this only recently because they said Dr. Fauci, like, has West Nile virus right now. And I just kept seeing people being like, how? Like, what? And it was just a part of my normal life back home. It is apparently, like, it is in many states. I believe it's in most states. But depending on where you live, your township, will tell you, like, there's active cases in your county. And that's where I grew up, was that, there were active cases every year. Not necessarily that people would catch it, but either animals, or they just test the mosquitoes every year regardless. And they're like, hey, it's here. So mosquitoes gotta go. I also get the worst reaction to mosquito bites. Like, Colin gets a mosquito bite and it itches a little. I get a mosquito bite, it turns into a welt like the size of like 2 quarters. Like, it's ridiculous. I can't stand mosquitoes.
I have the same thing. I don't know if I'm allergic to mosquitoes or what, but like, they fuck me up like crazy. Dude. Like, if I get bit, it's over. Yeah. Like, my arm's disfigured for like a good week.
Yeah, I will end up with like a huge welt and it'll itch for 2 weeks straight. Like, mosquitoes can get fucked. The other thing though on my list, dolphins. I have hated dolphins since I was a child. They're so smug. I can't fucking stand dolphins. Ever since I was a kid, especially in the 90s, Chris, you remember every mom had their theme. It was either Little Italy, and the moms would have their walls painted like a strange, brown orange color, and they'd have like grapes stenciled So it was either Italy or the beach. Like, 90s moms had two themes to choose from. A lot of them went with the beach theme. You go in their bathroom and they got the soft soap with the little animals in it. I liked that. But then they have like dolphins everywhere and the dolphin necklaces and dolphin earrings. Dolphins are so smart. I can't stand them. I have always hated them. And I don't think they serve a purpose. So I'm going with dolphins. They got to go.
Like they're also rapists, right? Dolphins rape? Yeah.
Dolphins are sexual predators. Like, absolutely. And then they're mean. They can go. All of them can go. I don't think we'll notice a difference. Because like you said, it's a food source. It's like, okay, so then we lose orcas too. That's fine. Yeah. I don't like those either.
Yeah, they say, so I'm looking up like what their role is, and they say they help keep the populations of these animals in check. And they're talking about like smaller fish, crustaceans. But I don't mind it. Like, whatever. Let the smaller fish run wild. I'm not going to,
Give me more fish. Yeah,
give me more fish.
Give me fish.
Yeah, drive the cost of sushi down. What are you talking about? Like,
exactly.
They're just, like, what? Get out of here. Yeah, fuck dolphins.
Yeah, you get rid of dolphins, lobster becomes cheaper. Like, this is a win-win.
Yeah, I don't see a negative outcome to this. I will say, like, you did mention the fact that they are sexual predators, and that is true. It's really upsetting. But it does make me think about the fact that, like, man, I feel like a little off topic, but I feel like pedophiles really ruined the word predator. Because I feel like there was a point in time where I feel like that was kind of probably a cool, like, if like there would be a point in like maybe the 80s where I think if you were to describe somebody, it's like, dude, that guy's a fucking predator, dude. Like, that would have been sick. It would have been like hyper masculine, like, yeah, he's like a threat. You know what I mean? Like, he's like macho or whatever. Now it's just like, I don't know. It's really unfortunate.
I think there's the brand of PCs called Predator.
Oh my God, is there?
I think so. That's very popular in Europe. I think so, unless I'm wrong.
Is that Dr. Disrespect's brand? Yeah, no, I that is true. Yeah, I don't know. But
there's
dolphins,
also like, there's the wrestler. I think it's Randy Orton who was the apex predator. And I don't know if they still bill him as that. I don't know if he still wrestles in the first place, but it's like it doesn't hit the same as it did when I was a kid, man.
Yeah, I do think putting apex before it does kind of help. It's like a muzzle. It's like a silencer, kind of. You know what I mean? It's kind of a silencer for predator. Like, it's like, okay, that's not so bad if you put apex before it, because it's like it makes it feel like the animal kingdom a little bit.
It's more removed. See, I took it as like he's the best rapist there is. He's the best one. I took it as like this dude's out there fucking like hitman style predating people.
Predating. You ruined it. Yeah, dolphins don't seem to do much for the environment, except for make things more expensive for us, it seems. So yeah, fuck that.
Well, good. So we'll get rid of those. I had one more. I don't know the name of this creature because I refuse to Google it. Okay. Chris, you remember the Wild Thornberrys television show?
Yes.
Okay. I loved that show because I loved animals. But there was an episode that has haunted me to this day. There is a type of frog that hatches its young out of eggs on its own back, and it leaves a bunch of like holes in the frog's back.
Oh.
And it disturbed me as a child. And then I remember seeing it. I had completely forgotten about it. And then I saw a post on like Facebook or something. It was like, check out this amazing frog. And it was the same fucking thing. And it all flooded back to me, this like childhood horror that I had felt. And I was just like, oh. And so I need to get rid of that. I hate knowing that it exists. I hate knowing it's out there. It literally is like one of the most heinous things I've ever learned about. That frog, whatever it is, needs to get the fuck out of here. Like, throw them all out. I need that thing to go away.
Yeah.
What is that? What is that called again? If you're scared of like little host typo,
it's like trypoptophobia or something.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like that one bit. But this, like, I refused to even Google it because I was like, I don't want to see it. But I know it's out there, and maybe it's already gone extinct. I keep hoping that it's just going to go extinct all by itself.
That's so funny because it's so interesting that trypophobia. That's a thing for people where they can't look at it because like I am transfixed by these images. Like I stare. I think they're so interesting.
Oh, yeah. Same. Yeah.
It makes me itchy just thinking about it.
So does a beehive kind of freak you out? Because beehives kind of have that going on.
Oh,
like if you cut them and like there's kind of like a hexagonal kind of.
That doesn't really bother me. So here's the thing. I think beehives are kind of gross, but I think it's more because it's made by insects, but it doesn't trigger that. Like I actually love bees as like decor, you know? And so I have like things that are like little beehives and like little honeybees. I appreciate them. I don't want them to go away, but that doesn't bother me as much, but I don't know why. I don't know why it's some things and not others. Maybe it's because it is hexagonal and not round. Because like something similar, wasp nests. Like wasp nests are more like roundish slightly, and that bothers me way more than a beehive. There's something about a wasp nest, and I'm like, oh, that's
wasps
gross.
Are just definitely worse. Like I don't.
Oh yeah, they can also go.
Horrible.
I mean, add them to the list.
Most honestly, if I'm really being honest with myself, I think most insects could. I think I would probably make if I had like ultimate power, if I could like Thanos snap, I would probably just universally get rid of all insects anyway. Just I know that would probably be massively destabilizing.
We would die.
Whatever.
Die.
Yeah, I don't know.
We have science, right? We have to have figured this out by now. Like, well, they're like, oh, bees pollinate things. Can we really not do this? Can we not take a Q-tip and some migrant workers and just pollinate the plants? I mean, can we not?
Yeah, like that's a job. They're kind of a vehicle of unemployment in some way. Like they're just doing like we could employ people to do this. That would be like that would serve our purpose and would create jobs actually in a way that it's actually more meaningful than if we had bees just kind of doing everything. So like I don't know. I like bees. I think they're cute, but like wasps and most things, honestly, I think I would sacrifice all bugs for like I would rather the world eventually crumble and have a finite amount of peace than an infinite amount of distress. I'd rather have like a short tail or like a short period of just like pure bliss than an infinity of just like, there's a roach in my kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
Like, is there anything worse? Is there anything worse than a roach in the kitchen? Probably not. Maybe 9/11. Maybe.
Well,
maybe.
I've never seen one, but I legitimately live in fear every summer of wasps and bees because I've never been stung by one. And I know my mom's allergic. Well, and my mom's allergic. My dad isn't. So perfect toss up of I have no idea if I'm allergic to bees or not. But I have lived in fear these 30 years of my life because it's just like every summer it could happen. And I have no idea if I'm just going to die or not. Right.
Mikey, I mean, you could just get an allergy test. You could figure this out.
Oh, I had an allergy test. They did not offer bees. Bees is on the list.
I think so, right? I think you could do because they definitely have like the enzymes that like.
Oh, yeah. I got tested for seasonal allergies, mold, cats and dogs. Like they did the whole panel. It was the most miserable experience of my life. Oh my God, so itchy, so incredibly, and it cost so much money. It was like, dude, like not only was this the most uncomfortable day ever, and it also cost like $600 after insurance. I was like, this is bogus.
Yeah, it's total bullshit. I'm probably allergic to so many things that I'm just completely blissfully unaware of, honestly.
There's this YouTuber, I don't remember his name, but he lets insects bite him to see how much it hurts.
I've seen him.
Is that Coyote Peterson? I think.
I have no idea. I just see his clip, his shorts every once.
Does he wear like a cowboy hat?
Yeah. He's like crazy.
Yeah, it's Coyote Peterson.
Yelling. Oh, yeah. And he just starts yelling whenever something bites him, and he has like this scale of which animal or which bug is like the toughest one. I think the tarantula wasp or something.
Oh,
the worst one or hurts the most.
That's such a Dragon Ball Z ass. Gets eaten off camera, and you could just hear him getting eaten. I never actually heard
That's
the video.
Grizzly Man.
Yeah,
I
Grizzly
think that's
Man, yeah,
Grizzly Man. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm not saying you shouldn't feel bad for a person who spends time around bears for a living and then gets eaten by a bear. But I mean, like, this was like, this is the only way this could really end, right? Like, there's no, it's like a Siegfried and Roy thing. It's like, oh, wow, you spend months with tigers. I wonder what the most likely reason that will stop is.
Right.
Yeah, the tiger's gonna fuck you up, like, obviously. I don't know, man. People just put themselves in situations that they really don't need to be in. I do know bears show up in some places, and like you got to go inside and all that. Like that's fine, but like I think if you're like making a habit of like I'm gonna go where the bears are. I'm gonna go chill with the bears. The bears love me. Must be something in my pheromones or something. Like they really like me. I can't really in good conscience feel that bad when the obvious happens.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. That like, here's the thing. I was devastated when Steve Irwin died. Devastated because I was a kid. I used to watch him all the time. But this was also a man who wrestled crocodiles for a living, and it's like I'm sad about it. But good Lord, this guy had already like eaten up. If he was a cat with 9 lives, he'd burned through 50 of them already. Like this dude had already used so many of his good boy points. Okay, like how many crocodiles can you wrestle and live? How many venomous snakes can you put in a sack, barehanded and live? It's like it had to be something. It had to happen eventually.
Yeah,
by a stupid fish. Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that it was a stingray that did it, because that's like a really kind of unceremonious way to go out. But that's like, it's you're on borrowed time as a crocodile hunter. That's like that famous Norm Macdonald bit where he was like, "That's a ripe old age for a crocodile hunter," and it is. It'd be like, "Oh, I'm the radiation hunter. We're here spending the night in Chernobyl." And it's like, well.
Yeah, how much time do you give this guy? Anyways, I will say, Lockmore, when you had said the stingrays never got their comeuppance, apparently there were a bunch of stingrays found murdered after Steve Irwin died. Like people did find them like beaten up on the beach. So people had taken some revenge.
Oh my God.
Justice.
That's so fucked up. Can you imagine? Like, really imagine for a moment. Because it's a stingray, just doing what a stingray does. So like imagine like hypothetically like one of our satellites lands on an alien planet and just like crushes like an alien, and then suddenly one day just a couple aliens show up, drop onto the surface of the earth, and just beat a bunch of people up and leave. I mean, it must be so jarring for the stingrays.
Oh, right.
Oh,
I mean,
God.
It is such a twisted sense of like that person really wasn't okay. Because how do you think this is? You're teaching them a lesson. I mean, we talked about Mary the murdering elephant. It's this all over again. Like, what? We're going to teach the elephants a lesson? We're going to teach the stingrays a lesson? Like, I'm as sad about Steve Irwin as anybody. I'm not going to go punch a stingray at the aquarium.
Did you know about this, Lockmore? The elephant that were
what is that?
I love bringing any opportunity I have to bring this up. I love it. But so in 1916, there was an elephant named Mary the elephant or something, and she I think killed a woman or like killed somebody in 1916. Whoa. And so what they did as retribution is they lynched the elephant with a crane. And this is a real thing that they did, in fact, do. And you can look it up, Mary. If you look up Mary the elephant, the image is outstanding of this. It is it is a crazy fucking like the.
Oh dear Lord!
that has never failed to just leave people speechless that they did this. But yeah, God bless.
Well, she'll never do it again, so it worked.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. It really, really taught her a lesson. So, yeah, I think I'm satiated by this. Anytime that a conversation like this can end with the hung elephant, I'm happy.
Oh, dude, I have an update just by chance because someone pinged me in the Discord because I said on the last show there's no way they actually hung the elephant and like that's how they killed it. This man says it really happened. They had to hang it because they couldn't kill it any other way. They tried to shoot it, but the guns were too low caliber. They tried hitting it with sticks and they tried stabbing it.
Oh.
And they said even hanging almost didn't work because the chain broke the first time.
Oh,
that is fucking crazy. Yeah, no, I mean, I would imagine it's pretty difficult to kill an elephant if you're in a place that is like, if you're not like a poacher, you know what I mean? You're not going to have like a gun that can really do that, like on your person. Like even as like even as like a county like government or like state police, probably like they don't have fucking elephant caliber weapons. Unless you're in New York, in which case they have like fucking mini nukes on the police officers in Times Square. But I think I'm satisfied by this. So let's move on over to Locke. You've got an interesting one that I had to. I really racked my brain with this one, but why don't you lead us into it?
Well, my topic is very simple. It's the top 3 of the dumbest things you've ever done. And I got to that topic because my top 3 took place in one day. They all happened on the same day. And I just remembered it because over the past couple of weeks, I turned 40 recently, which is disgustingly old. And my body is starting to notice it. My brain is still 16. My body is literally old now. So I'm starting to breathe more heavy. So I figured, well, I gotta quit smoking. It has to happen now. I already quit smoking weed, but I gotta quit smoking, which got me to think, like, why did I ever start smoking? It's such a stupid, disgusting habit. It's super, super expensive too. It has zero benefits. It's just, but I love it so much, and I've been doing it for so long that I'm having really hard difficulty, as you can see. I'm having really hard difficulty just quitting it. So I limit myself to like 10 cigarettes a day now, which is better than the 40 or the 50 that I was smoking before. But that got me to think, like, why, you stupid idiot, why did you ever start smoking? And I remember when I was 17 years old in high school, here in Belgium, the rule is if you get your driver's license, it costs like $1,000. I think it's the same over there, maybe, or not. How expensive is it over there to do like the tests? No,
it is not much money at all. No.
Oh, okay. Well, here in Belgium, it's like $1,000 to do like the test, and then you get your driver's license, and then you can do whatever you want to do. But to do that test, you first need to follow a course. And in high school, some high schools, or at least back in the day, I don't know how it is right now, but back in the day, schools would offer those courses to people. So my dad made a deal with me that if I didn't smoke before I was 18, he would pay for that course. And I would just take that course at school, and then he would pay for it, and I would get my driver's license. Very, very easy, very simple. And I remember the day of the course, it was on a Saturday morning. I was driving my bike to school to go take the course, but I had a couple of friends in high school, and back then, Jackass was super popular. And a couple of my best friends and I, we had this cool little thing going where we dared somebody out of nowhere, and they had to do it. And if they didn't have to do it, they would have to pay everyone drinks. So my friends, while I was driving to school on Saturday to take this driver's license course, they told me, you're going to have to drive your bike into a pond, like a disgusting little pond where people, I don't know what's ends up in there, but it wasn't very healthy. So I did it. I drove my bike into the pond. I was like drenched in like swamp water and disgusting stuff. And I got to school in like my swamp water clothes. And the guy who taught us the course told me, like, no, you're not coming in. You're not coming in my classroom. I was like, well, come on. You're only doing this once a year. Like, I have to take this course. He said, no, I'm sorry. You have to show respect for us. Like, go home and change. So I figured, okay, well, fuck it. Then I'm not taking the course. Then I'm just going to go home. Screw it. And I got home, and my dad asked, of course, because I was still wearing my swim clothes. He asked, why shouldn't you be taking the course? I said, like, well, no, they didn't want me to let in, so I guess I'll have to take it next year. They said, well, no, you're gonna take it now, or I'm not paying for it. So that's when I said, okay, well, fuck it, and I'll start smoking. And I did. I did that very day. I bought my first pack of cigarettes, and then a week later, I got very sick, and I thought, well, that's probably because I smoked like a whole pack of cigarettes over a week. Like it's not normal. That was probably made me sick. So I went to the doctor, and the doctor told me that because I drove my bike into the pond, I now had mono. So I had to stay home. So I had to stay home for like a month, and couldn't go to school, couldn't see my friends. So in the course of literally 2 or 3 hours, I drove my bike into a pond, which got me mono, which cost me my driver's license, which I never got, by the way, ever. So I'm 40 years old. I don't have a driver's license, and I started smoking that very same day. So those are the top 3 of the dumbest things I've ever done, because they still have ramifications to this day, which was very, very stupid of me and very dumb of me, and I should have never done any of it. So I want to know of you guys what you did, and what your top 3 of the dumbest things you ever did. Doesn't have to be on one day, of course. You take your whole lifetime. What is the top 3 of the dumbest things you've ever done? Micah, let's start with you.
Okay. Oh my God. This is the fucking craziest thing I've maybe ever heard. Oh my God, Lockmore, what's going on in that country of yours? Like, what is happening there? Okay. I came up with a couple different things. The stakes are much lower, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I had told you guys that I had lead poisoning when I was a child, because I used to eat magazine pages. What I don't think I ever told anybody
I forgot
was
this.
that at a certain age, the craving for paper came back, and I started eating loose leaf lined paper, which I believed to be safe. But the real problem was that I inadvertently started like a paper eating club, because the other kids saw, and we had children. They would roll up the paper to be like a pill, and they'd go to the water fountain and eat it, like take it like a pill. And I didn't really endorse this. I was just minding my own business eating paper. And the teacher found out. They weren't pleased about it. They're like, what is this line at the water fountain? Everyone has their little paper capsules that they were about to eat. And I don't know. I just had the craving again. Whatever had happened to me the first time around, I didn't learn my lesson. I just really wanted more paper to eat. So that was the first one in which I started eating paper again. Also, as a child, this happened when I was in like second grade. I cut my... No, he did it. Oh my God, the memory. I haven't thought about this in a very long time. I was like 6 or 7. Okay, this kid, Matt, very nice kid. It was an accident, but he was like chopping his scissors around in the air, right? And he nipped me. All right, he nipped me on the hand. And so my hand and he got me like in the webbing of my fingers. So
that's so visceral.
Well, so I'm holding my bleeding hand, right? And I go up to the teacher, this really nice lady, Miss Lavin, and she was talking to the other teacher, Mrs. Beers. And I was like, excuse me, Miss Lavin. And she's like, 1 second, we're talking. And I just said, okay. And I stood there for the 2 minutes that they were having their conversation, just holding my bleeding hand. They didn't notice. And finally, she was like, all right, what did you need? And I just held out my hand, and it's like both my hands now are all bloody. She was like, oh, okay, all right. She's like getting the first aid kit, sending me to the nurse's office. And I remember being told after that if you're injured, you're allowed to interrupt a conversation, because I was just a very polite little kid. And they told me, wait a minute, we're talking. And I was just like, oh, all right, that's cool. So I was just like, all right. That was the next one that came to mind. This one was me as an adult and just I'm not a history person. It's very funny that I've ended up with Colin, who loves history, because I don't like it. And I'm not good at memorizing things. I'm not very smart with history stuff. And one day we're talking about the Berlin Wall coming down. and at Lockmore. I'm sure you know all about this.
Yeah,
And I said,
exactly, yeah.
I said, yeah, there's the famous quote, David Hasselhoff, tear down this wall.
Oh my God.
And Colin was like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like, it's not David Hasselhoff. But he was there. Here's my brain put it all together all wrong. David Hasselhoff was like dancing and had like a concert when the Berlin Wall fell. That happened. And I remember seeing like a news story about that, like, you know, on like VH1 or something. I remember seeing this footage as a kid. And I guess I put it all together that he was the one who actually was like, got the Berlin Wall taken down. I don't know. I put David Hasselhoff in a place of great importance.
I love the idea that like he's like a pivotal player. Like without him, the wall might not have come down. Like he was in the SpongeBob movie.
Yeah.
And the reason he's in the SpongeBob movie is because he tore down the Berlin Wall.
I was like, I mean, this was around the time Colin and I met, so I'm 28 years old, I guess, 28, 29, when I find out that the quote was not David Hasselhoff, tear down this wall. It was Mr. Gorbachev or whatever.
No, it was Reagan who said it.
Oh no, but what's the quote? Isn't it the quote is like Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall? Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Yeah, and I the whole time, like 20 years of my life, I'm like, David Hasselhoff, tear down this wall. And he's singing and dancing on the wall. That happened, though. That did happen. I didn't like put him there for no reason. But that was one of the dumbest. I haven't felt that dumb, except the time Colin tried to have me fill out a map of the United States. I felt real dumb then, too.
Yeah.
Well, how old are you? Because I think the Berlin Wall was like in 89 or maybe a little bit later.
Yeah, I am 31, so I was not alive for it. But I remember seeing, it was literally on like a VH1 or something documentary about David Hasselhoff, and they had the footage from then. And that's when my young brain was just like, wow, he did that. He tore down the Berlin Wall.
Yeah, I love the idea.
Awesome.
It's like you learning about it through like the True Hollywood story.
Exactly. That's the thing. It's like, because this is maybe around the era. Do you remember when he was like eating that hamburger drunk on the floor?
Oh, classic.
Like,
yeah.
And it's like, man, how far he has fallen. This guy took down the Berlin Wall, solved this big problem, and he's drunk eating a hamburger. Like, sad.
Well, he's earned it. He tore down the Berlin Wall. What do you mean?
That's true.
I have to say, look, I've seen that. I haven't thought about that picture since I was like literally a kid, because I think, what was that, like maybe high school? Maybe when was the David Hasselhoff? Maybe even earlier, actually. David Hasselhoff. I feel
like we were younger.
Yeah, it might have been like junior high. Burger. Yeah,
he was like drunk eating a hamburger. I think his daughter filmed him.
That long ago. It's like a decade ago, I think.
No,
it's gotta be longer than that.
It's longer than a decade ago. Still not. Yeah. When did this happen? I'm really annoyed that I can't find like the original. Like, this was definitely on May 3rd, 2007. A home movie clip of
that's a lot.
Drunk David Hasselhoff eating a cheese. Yeah, I remember it was like the beginning of my high school, or like transitioning into high school. I saw this, so I haven't thought about this since then. But as I'm looking at it, I have to say. Eating a hamburger on the floor, shirtless and drunk, kind of. There's like shower beer vibes here. Yeah. Where like, I don't know. This doesn't seem too bad as I'm looking at it now. You know, maybe this is kind of chill.
We're living in a post Jared Fogle world. At the time, this was a scandal. At the time, this was news. And then we had that. And then we had Epstein Island, okay? Like, everything has gotten so much worse.
The ante has been raised significantly.
Well, wasn't it a scandal because it was his daughter filming it?
That was part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Man. David Hasselhoff.
We share a birthday, too. Me and David Hasselhoff have the same birthday. So... I'm quite proud of that. It's also why I think of the hamburger incident so much.
That's so fucking funny.
How old is he? He's like due for like a comeback at some point.
David Hasselhoff? He's had a
Yeah,
comeback. He had his whole SpongeBob saga.
I mean, that was like 20 years ago.
Yeah, but he's fucking, I don't know. He's like 72 years old. Like,
72.
Oh, no. I don't want anything bad to happen to him.
Oh my God. What the hell are we talking about? I don't even.
Well, first he took down the Berlin Wall, then he had his illustrious career as Knight Rider and Baywatch and all those other things. But first, he was a German hero.
Right. And so was that number? Was that the first? That was the second one, right?
Oh, that was my third one. I wrote down
I'm trying to keep track of
several. I'm going to share one more just because this is a shout out to our boy Dustin. Okay. After the Butler, Pennsylvania show that we did, we go back to Dustin's house that night and I was so tired. I couldn't figure out how to set an alarm on my phone. And I kept opening like the calculator and that was wrong. And I hadn't even had anything to drink. I was just so tired, genuinely tired. I opened up the alarm app and like shut it several times. I couldn't figure out how to make an alarm. And at one point, like I just turned to Dustin and said, "Do you know how to do this?" And he looked at me. He looked at me like I was just like a poor defenseless child. It really was the face of like, "Oh my God, I will help you." And he set an alarm for me for the next day and we were all set. But I really was just in that moment, like, I'm the dumbest motherfucker on earth right now. I use this phone every day. I could not figure out how to make an alarm. I couldn't do it. And Dustin, our sweet, sweet boy, he helped me. So shout out to him for that. And he never told anybody.
Oh, man.
Oh.
All right. So I guess, man, it really was a trip trying to think about it because I was trying to think about stories that I like, things that I could mention without like talking about other people that probably wouldn't want stories about them on the internet. So there are worse than what I'm about to share today, but these are the ones that I thought would implicate the fewest people and would be some of these. They're definitely lowest stakes or lower stakes than Locke's entire saga. But the first one's a pretty small one. I remember this is very literal, a very literal answer to the question, like, what is the dumbest, like the stupidest thing that you've done? This is one of them. I remember a long time ago in like, I think 2011, 2012, around that time, I was post high school or towards the end of high school, early college. I was working at Sears. And I was a merchandising and customer assistant. And what basically that was, it was just like I had to go in and change all the signage. I had to like update all the price changes. I had to like and just do other stuff like in the stock room, like keep price change notifications, all that boring shit. No chance in hell, by the way, that I was doing any of that correctly. I was just like pressing buttons and just like hoping for the best because I don't think at that point even Sears gave a shit. I used to sleep behind the TVs. I would like crawl behind the TVs and sleep. It's a whole story at Sears. But I remember working a Black Friday and I can't remember what my schedule was exactly, but it was like something crazy. It was like I was there on the morning of Thanksgiving from like 6 a.m. to 2. And then I went to have Thanksgiving dinner at like 6. And then I went back to work from like 7:30 to 3 in the morning. And then the day before that was like a 6 a.m. day too. So it was just like a fucked week. And Black Friday, if anybody's ever worked in retail, they know how horrible Black Friday is. But I remember specifically being so sick because I was barely feeding myself. I was like barely taking care of myself. They ordered like late night Burger King for the staff to like keep morale up. And the Burger King was just not good. It was a mess. And so I remember feeling nauseous and feeling sick and just having to push through until like I think about 3:30 in the morning. Our shift is finally over. And as I'm walking out, I just puke all over the ground. Like as I'm walking out, it's like at 3 a.m. puke outside at Sears. I'm like, well, this is great. And so I'm driving home. I take my work shirt off and I'm literally puking into it as I'm driving home because I don't want to throw up all over my car. This is hell. And at some point I throw the shirt out the window. I'm like, God damn it, this is so terrible. This is such a terrible day. And then I got home and I'm walking up to my house and I feel it coming again. And I'll tell you what the reason is, right? A thought came into my head where it's like, this has been such a terrible day. I'm not getting paid enough. I was working $7.25 an hour when gas was like $45 again. Like, it was like $45 to fill the car up. I was barely making any money. And so I thought I need to leave here with something. And I thought, if I die and I get to experience a moment in my life from the third person, I get to look at it from like a detached camera. This is what I want to see. And so as I was throwing up at like 3:30, 4 a.m. outside of my house, I just did a cartwheel while I threw up and tried to make it like spiral. I don't know why I thought this was a good idea, but I just needed something. I just needed some novelty of this to end this day on. And I smiled, and then I went to bed, and then I don't know. I was probably sick for days after that, but that was Black Friday. Black Friday is hell, and I feel bad for anybody who still has to work it. Although I have to imagine it's a lot less. It's probably like not so bad now that like Amazon is popular and a lot of shopping is done online. And I have to imagine it's improved somewhat. But like back then, and even back then, it was like tapering off from like the early 2000s when people would trample each other for a PS2.
Oh, dude. Yeah. When's the last time you heard about somebody getting trampled at a Walmart? Like, it doesn't seem to be as big of a problem these days.
Yeah, it really is just like absurdly busy. It's still absurdly busy, and people are like extra douchey. But that's really all that's happening. But it's exhausting either way. But so that was one of them. It was like very like actually like Kung Pao levels of just stupid. Like I don't know why I thought that would be worth it. Because I guarantee you, like if I do end up in like the post game lobby of life, and like and like I'm like, oh, do you want to see any moment from your life? Like you have one moment to see. It's like it's probably not going to be that, So it's even in the hypothetical where it would make sense, it's still not even really worth it. And then the other one was I remember, I was out late with friends. This is in New York. I don't think I had much to drink. I didn't drunk drive, but I got so drunk that I shattered my glasses. And I was like, oh, fuck me. God damn it. I was probably did a fucking cartwheel or something. I dropped my glasses. They were broken. I was like, oh, shit. This is not ideal. I really can't see anything. And it was like nighttime too. So it's especially like, not only am I blind, but it's also dark. And I broke my glasses as all my friends were leaving. Like as we were all like getting ready to leave and part ways. Like I was like, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to get my check and whatever. You guys can go, whatever. And so everybody left and it was just me. This is before Uber was like common. So like I couldn't really like reliably get an Uber. So I was like, oh, fuck. I guess I'll just drive home. And so I drove home like in the middle of the night, like at 12:30 in the morning in like rural kind of like backwoods New York, blinded, like completely blinded. I just drove really slow and I squinted real hard and I put like the hazard lights on. But like realistically, I probably should have just, I don't know, called one of the people that had left minutes before to be like, hey, I can't fucking see. Because I had a spare at home. I could have just like, but I also just didn't want to do that. I don't want to go back out. Not smart. I don't recommend driving if you have with no glasses, if you have a minus fucking probably 8 at the time, -7 prescription. Not ideal. And then the big one, or the biggest one that I feel I could tell is there was a birthday party when I first moved to LA. So this is 2015. I was new to the area. I was like on my own for the first time. Really irresponsible with alcohol. As far as I was like, oh, I could get drunk in the fucking middle of the day now. I don't even want to do it, but just knowing that I can now without like judgment or without like any kind of rules getting in my way just made me want to do it. So like early, like when I moved here, I was like belligerent, like drinking a lot, being mega irresponsible, not taking care of basic necessities. We didn't even have like a water filter in our apartment. We had like, we had a pot full of water that we had boiled in the fridge, and we would like ladle it out into
You're pioneers. You're fucking pioneers over here.
Yeah, because we were like, because the water in LA is terrible. Like it's specifically like you need a filter to drink. It's not like New York City or like most places with well water where like it's like so filtered that it's just delicious from the tap. Drinking LA water from the tap will kill you probably. So we would boil. I'm exaggerating, but it's terrible. It tastes terrible. And so we would boil. I only say that to illustrate the fact that we were not really adults quite yet. Like we were functionally legally adults, but like there was nothing mature about how we were living at that time. And there was a birthday party with some friends at this apartment complex. It was like a party complex, and I was like, okay, sick. I'm excited. And they had all this. They had all these drinks. We were mixing. Terrible, just not smart off the get go. And then they had like this big bowl of gummy worms that were soaked in alcohol. I don't remember like what type or whatever, but it was irrelevant because it was delicious and I had so many. And then some guy comes in, and I remember this so vividly because it was so cartoonish. He comes in with a fucking Rasputin vial. Do you remember Anastasia? Do you remember the vial of like evil liquid? He comes in with like a vial. First time I'd ever seen a vial outside of a fucking like chemistry class. And it's at this house party, and he says, I brought absinthe, but no one wants to try it. Everybody was too wise. And me and my buddy Jalen, the guy I drove to LA from New York with, we were like, let's each split it. And so we both like, he had half of the vial, I had the other half of the vial. A strange vial, by the way, from a stranger. Brought into a party that I did not know. And we just like, yeah, let's just drink half of this. And at that point, the memory is a little hazy. I remember there was like some kind of a fight, but it wasn't real. It was like a play fight. Like people were like play fighting, but like I don't think they understood like that they were capable human beings of doing serious harm. So it was like, okay, this is pretty crazy. And I remember trying to break it up and getting like scratched to shit. Like getting like genuine like lacerations, like, oh my God, what the fuck's going on? And then I blinked, and it was the next day, and I was standing in Home Depot looking at PVC piping. Like looking at just like PVC pipes and 2x4s and stuff. And I turned to my left, and there's Jalen. And he just looks at me and he goes, and then we were just staring, and I said, why are we here? And he said, I think we're picking something up for like a house or something. And I was like, all right, I don't know. But probably one of the stupidest things you could do is probably like drink liquid out of a stranger's vial. But it was something. I really am curious about what the fuck happened. Apparently it was like very uneventful after that fight, but like it was just jarring. That was the first time I had ever blacked out. Really? Yeah. Or at least to my knowledge.
Chris, you Freaky Friday'd. You switched with somebody and you just don't remember, but you switched with somebody who would go to Home Depot, and that's what happened. That's why you were there. You switched with some suburban dad, and he's like, I don't know whose body this is. I feel like shit, but I gotta go get the parts I need. And then you switch back, and he's probably at like Del Taco or something. Like, what happened? You know, wherever you led him in the night.
Yeah. It was jarring. But yeah, don't drink out of strange vials, because there's no way that was just absinthe, by the way. Like, there's no way, because I've had absinthe since then. No, there was like, I don't know what the hell was in that. It was probably absinthe mixed with like, I don't know, the eye of a newt or something. Like that was some kind of potion of some kind. But those are the three that stick out to me. I'm sure there are like way stupider ones that I've either like memory hold or I'm too embarrassed to remember. But yeah, man, don't drink out of strange vials.
Do you still have both your kidneys after that night? Why did that guy do that? Why would he waste like money on like two?
I don't know. Maybe we stole it from. Maybe we just took it. I don't know. Like I really have no. All I know is that we split the absinthe, and nobody seemed to have a problem with it. Nobody else was getting it. It was like he said something about worms or something, because I think that's how you make absinthe. Like you do something with worm root or something. I don't know. I don't know what the hell he was talking about, but we drank it anyway. I'm actually like, I am kind of like there was one point where I did have alcohol poisoning, and I just was like, I'll walk it off. Because I just didn't want to go to the hospital and get my fucking stomach pumped. I was like, that sounds like a nightmare. I'd rather die. It's fine. But I remember that very vividly because I woke up at like 6:30 in the morning, basically like making zombie sounds. Like basically like The Walking Dead, like, oh my God, what is this? That was unreal pain. Like I really could not. I felt like my soul had a headache. Is the best way that I can describe it. It was such a core fiber of your being type dull ache that I was like, I would have been so happy to just be dead in that moment. Like I really authentically, that was the most I've ever embraced death in my life was that day. It was like, kill me. If it means this stops, just kill me. But I remember waking up really early, and my friend worked at the post office. This is Jalen again. It's the same person. But like we lived together. And he was like, "Hey man, you all right?" And I was like, "No." And so he brings me. This is before we had any cups. This was after the boil. We didn't have any cups. We didn't have any cups. We just because we drank out of bottles and cans. I still don't have like wine glasses and stuff. Like there's stuff that I don't have that I probably should. But like, so this is after we boiled water in a pot and used it to drink water reliably, but before we had receptacles to put that water in. And so he poured me a bowl of water and just put it next to my bed like a fucking dog. And I remember being like so sad drinking water out of a bowl, trying to cling to life. And I think I was just in bed all day in like an insane amount of pain, and I probably should have gone to the hospital, but like it went away after a while. It was fine. I ended up okay. But I woke up at 6:30 in the morning, and then at 8:30 p.m. I finally found the strength to like wander out of bed and walk to my roommates and say, I think I'll be okay. Maybe. But it was like a full 12 plus hours of like vivid suffering. I never drank that much again.
Dude, this is like in video games when it's like, I don't know, like cowboy times, and they're like, if he makes it through the night, he'll be okay. Like you literally had that happen, and in the year of our Lord, like 2015, we're like, I ain't going to no doctor. Like you just dealt with it, drinking boiled water out of a bowl.
Well, the way that I felt about it was just like, I just really don't want to pay the medical bills for whatever this is going to be, because it's just not going. It's going to be so exorbitant. Like getting your stomach pumped from alcohol poisoning is probably not cheap. It's also probably not pleasant.
Probably not.
And so my thought was like, I don't know. The way I actually thought about it was like, if I die, that's so much less to worry about because I won't be here. So like either I get over this and I don't have to pay a lot of money, or I die and it's not my problem. is genuinely how I thought about it.
This is I know I'm extreme in the other direction because I've never been drunk in my life, but it's because I have a phobia of throwing up. So I've never let myself get drunk because I'm so scared of throwing up. I haven't thrown up in, oh man, it's been over 10 years. It's been over 10. I wouldn't. Yeah.
You've never been like seasick or nauseous or like, car sick or anything like that?
No. And I gotta say, like, I feel bad like much of the time, but I just never actually am sick because I have chronic digestive issues. But luckily, I don't throw up. But I like the last time I got sick, I think I was like 19. So it's been a while. And I can remember like vividly each time in my life I have been physically sick because it was so traumatizing each time. Maybe it was traumatizing because it happened so infrequently though. Maybe it's because I only throw up every like 10 years. And then so I'm just like, what is happening? But this is just madness, Chris. So you like, I can't. Yeah. I look at like young people and they're like always like sick and hungover, and I'm like, what?
We believe we're immortal, basically. You know, it really
is torture.
I still kind of feel that way, to be honest with you. Like the only reason I haven't done that since is because I just don't want to deal with like the day of suffering. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily because I think I might die.
It's because Rasputin hasn't come back into your life. Like it's because he hasn't shown up again with some mysterious liquid for you to imbibe.
Yeah, it wasn't, dude. It's not smart. It's not the best way to exist. But I'm really surprised that you've gone that long without throwing up. I feel like there was a time when I was like a kid or like in my young teens where I remember I could reliably predict my vomit cadence. And what I mean by that is I would always vomit once a year at least. There was like something. And so I remember like every time I would get sick and I would throw up and I would be done with it, I remember I would be so happy and excited because I would be like, oh my God, it's going to be like a year before I have to deal with this again. But it's like a weight off my shoulders, right? I don't have to be anticipating it anymore. And then the alcohol came in and then it was like, this is less predictable. But I don't know when the last, it's been a couple years at this point. I think like maybe 2-3 years. I think. Yeah,
there's its own paranoia of it could happen any day. Like statistically, I'm like, okay, I'm 31 years old. Haven't thrown up since I was 19. Made it through my whole 20s without throwing up. It's gonna happen. It will happen someday. All right. Yeah. Like, and I'm just waiting for it. And I'm only saying that because it's like a major phobia of mine. But at the same time, I've been very fortunate, but it has to hit me eventually, right? There's got to be something will happen. Something is going to happen. I think one of the key ones was when we were kids and they introduced the 10-piece nugget at McDonald's. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, dog. And I ate all 10 of them and I got very sick. That was one of like the key memories, core memories. But I don't know. I live in fear of it every day because I feel like statistically it has to happen.
But have you never been sick anymore from eating food? Never? Like,
oh, no, I've never had, knock on wood, I've never had food poisoning. I've never had a stomach bug.
Nice.
Like the only times I've gotten sick were I overate as a child or my lactose intolerance. I had a milkshake before I realized you can't have those and was very sick. The 10-piece nugget, but like otherwise that's been the problem is like overeating. But I've never had a stomach bug or food poisoning. I've been very lucky. I feel like luck's running out.
I overate once and I went to the ER for it because I was so scared.
Oh,
because I took an edible.
Oh God!
And I was and I was kind of high, and I was like, and it was like the most I've ever felt like the munchies in my life. Yeah. Or like ever, like even like I've been high since then. It was just like it didn't hit the same as that day for whatever reason. Like it was super strong, and so I ordered like a double bacon cheeseburger from Five Guys and like large fries. I finished that, and then I ordered it again.
Oh my God! It's enough fries to kill a family of 4.
Yeah, and I ate all of it, and I ordered it again, and then it was taking too long. And then my friends were like, "Hey, we're gonna go to Taco Bell. Do you want anything?" I was like, "Yeah, this Five Guys is taking forever. Get me a Crunchwrap Supreme." 3 chicken quesadillas and that'll be fine. And then both the Five Guys and the chicken quesadilla and the Taco Bell came at the same time, and I ate all of it. And then I was like, oh, I'm still hungry. And so I like made myself a sandwich. And then I was like, oh, I'm still hungry. And then I had a bowl of cereal. And this is in like, by the way, this is like within 2 hours, probably. This is it's like 2.5 hours. And then I went to go lie down. And I was like, I couldn't breathe because it hurt to breathe because my lungs were literally like, my stomach was pressing against my lungs, I think. And I was scared because I was like, I can't breathe. And then I started looking things up because I'm high and paranoid. And then I was like, oh, your stomach's gonna rip in half. And I was like, oh no, this is the stupidest way to die. and so I went to the emergency room. I went not to the emergency room. I went to urgent care. I wasn't about to go to the emergency room. I'm very frugal, but I went to urgent care. And I told them I think I'm gonna die of sepsis, and they're like, go home. And so the next day I just didn't eat anything. I just ate like saltines and I drank, like I sipped kombucha the whole day because I read something about like the bacteria or something.
Balance.
Yeah, I was like, I overdid it, and there was probably like another thing that I'm forgetting. It was probably like a fucking, I don't know, like M&Ms or something. Like there's something, right? Bag of chips in addition to that. But it was fucked. Like in 2.5 hours, I just ate so much. And I finished all of it, by the way. There was no,
Damn.
like both full orders of Five Guys alone is kind of egregious. But
yeah, does Lockmore, do you know about Five Guys? Like how many fries they give you?
Recently we got Five Guys here. The only, I love Five Guys, but we also have KFC here. And whenever I have KFC, you can ask Dustin because I always tell him when this happens. Whenever I have KFC, I vomit my entire bathroom under for no reason. I don't know why. I've tested it a bunch of times, and I've always texted Dustin and Ben afterwards to have proof. If I die, then it's KFC's fault. But every time I have KFC, I'm fine for like 2 or 3 hours, but then after 4 hours, I wake up in the middle of the night and everything comes out again. And I've tested it like 4 or 5, 6 times, and it happened.
Stop.
Yes,
Stop, Lockmore.
Well, now the test has been completed, so I'm pretty sure it's KFC. But I recently discovered, because there was an article here in the newspaper that we had like mice running around our local KFC. So maybe it's just our local one. I haven't tried any other ones. So
oh my god, they're contaminated by mices.
Maybe yeah, disgusting. But I love Five Guys. Yeah,
Five Guys is great, man.
God.
I'm probably gonna have. Five
It's
Guys
fantastic, but they give you so many. Like you order, I'll be like, I'll have a little hamburger and a small fry, and I could eat those fries if I could take those on the Oregon Trail. It'd be enough food to get me all the way there. Okay, like they give you so many fries. They destroy you with fries, and they're delicious, but they're so greasy and heavy. Like this is not food. I love it, but this is not food.
I'm gonna get Five Guys after this. I think I'm putting the mood. Oh, by the way, I'm satisfied, by the way, but before we close it out, I do want to ask one like quick parting question, because this is a conversation that's been happening amongst my friends and I over the last couple days. What do you know Chips Ahoy, right? The cookies?
Yeah.
What would you call one of those? Like a single individual unit?
Just a cookie?
Just a cookie, right?
What,
See,
are you talking about people that say Chip Ahoy?
I say Chip Ahoy. Like give me give me a Chip Ahoy.
No, Chris, no, you don't.
I do. I'm not even remotely kidding. I swear to you. It's like because there are Chips Ahoy, which is like multiple. But then, like, if I want one, I'm like, yeah, hand me a Chip Ahoy. Because if I wanted a cookie, I guess I could say that. There's nothing wrong with saying just cookie. But my issue is with people having like some weird issue with me saying Chip Ahoy. I feel like it's descriptive. It is accurate. I want a single Chip Ahoy, especially if I have multiple. Like, let me ask you: if I had multiple types of cookies in my house, like let's say I had like fresh baked, then Chips Ahoy, and then like Oreos or something,
yeah,
right? And I say, hand me a cookie. It would be more reasonable for me to say Chip Ahoy if I wanted a Chip Ahoy. Are
you only eating one at a time? That's my bigger problem with this. They're so small. Who eats one?
I don't know. It's just a nibble.
No,
just to stave off the starvation.
It's not enough. Okay, my go-to Oreos, I always have 3 Oreos. All right, 2 isn't enough. 4 is too many. 3 Oreos. And that's my default for most cookies. Chips Ahoy, even I would be rocking 4 of those. All right, They're small, especially chewy Chips Ahoy. They're like half the size and not as good.
Yeah, I don't like the chewy. That's unpopular for a lot of people where it's like, I don't like chewy cookies. I don't think, because they're not done. They're just not, it's the cookie dough then at that point. It's like you haven't finished the cookie.
You didn't finish it?
Yeah, you didn't finish it. You half-assed the cookie and then you sold it to me for like, you upcharged it for me. It's like, what the hell? Like, I've never thought about this, but I wonder if I should just like put chewy Chips Ahoy in like the oven. I never thought about this.
No, because why would you do that extra step though? Why would you do that?
Because
you
maybe
just buy the ones that are already baked.
Well, yeah, but like, what if I don't know? What if chewy Chips Ahoy baked at home taste better than the pre-baked Chips Ahoy? It's not impossible.
There's a chance.
I think
there's
a chance.
You'd want to do them on 350 on a dark baking sheet.
Yeah.
And give them, start with like 3 minutes. All right. But I don't know about this, Chris. This feels like dark alchemy
I'm going to try this.
Attempting here. I wouldn't let the Pentagon know about this.
I'll try this and I'll report back.
Absolutely.
You'll be the one with the dark Val now, offering people like dark cookies.
Yeah.
You're both gonna vomit next year, by the way, if you come to London, because then you'll get British food.
Oh no,
and British food is like that. It's like the opposite of American.
Well, there's curry.
So
I like curry.
If there's fish and chips, can we go to the Chippy? Oh, I want to go to the Chippy, and then I'll be fine. I love fish and chips. And mushy peas. Give me some mushy peas at the Chippy.
Peas, yeah. Oh my God! Did you see, Micah? I don't know if you sent this to me or like I saw that this seemed like something that would crack you the fuck up, but I saw this thing going around of like this British popsicle.
No.
Let me send this to you right now. I'm gonna retweet it on my Twitter account just because like it is so good. But I found it on my likes yesterday. Where the fuck is it? Hold on. I'm retweeting it now and I'm going to send it to you guys. It's, I'll put it in the chat for you guys, actually, for both of you.
Cool.
But it is, it's so fucking crazy. It's so mean-spirited is the thing. Here it is.
I'll put it in the edit.
Yeah, here it is. Think this is it. Is that? Yeah. Look at this. Is this beautiful or what?
I see this. I lost my fucking mind when I saw that.
It murdered me, dude. Like I actually fell on the floor laughing at this. But yeah, there's a lot of stupid. There's a lot of stupid things that we all experience. I remember eating 7 pot brownies once because I didn't realize they were pot brownies. I thought they were just vegan.
Christopher.
I thought they were just vegan, and that's why they tasted weird because it was my first time in California. I was like, these taste a little planty. They must be vegan.
Maybe those stupid black bean brownies everybody makes.
That's what I thought. And then like somebody stopped me when I was 5 in, and they were like, those are pot brownies. And I was like, oh, well, I don't feel anything, so I'm going to have 2 more.
Oh, dude, I mean, the one time that I did edibles was because we made firecrackers, which are like saltines, peanut butter. You put the weed in the peanut butter, whole thing. And my friends and I, we eat them and we're like, we don't feel anything. And so we're like, well, let's just go to Subway. And we go to Subway and I'm standing in line. And that's when it hits me that I was like just violently high and like not okay. And this woman is like, what would you like, dear? And I looked at my boyfriend. I was just like, I can't do this. And like he had to order a sandwich for me. Like we had to get the fuck out of there. But it just all of a sudden hit me like all at once. Like, oh my God, I am so not okay. And I could not function. And I'm sure that lady was like, what the fuck is wrong with these kids?
That's awesome. I love stories like that. It's good to remember how stupid we all can be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I don't know. I think we had a good rounded, winding conversation about a myriad of nonsensical topics. This was fun. Man, how would you even end? Is there like I feel like there's like a script in some way for the ending of these shows, but I just don't know it. If you want more Constellation, go patreon.com/LastStandMedia. Go over there. There's all sorts of stuff. Sacred symbols, defining Duke, Constellation. Come on. Punching up. Also, come on. Hurry up already. Do it. If you don't go over there, I'll hurt you personally. Thanks for stopping by. You guys have a good one.
Constellation is a product of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC and is proudly recorded in the USA. The show was conceived by and is directed and hosted by me, Colin Moriarty. My co-host is my brother, Dagan Moriarty. The show is produced by Last Stand's executive producer, Dustin Furman, and is edited by associate producer, Ben Smith. All Last Stand theme music is by Ramon Narvaez, and all of our graphics and logos are by Dagan Moriarty. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's podcasts, including Constellation, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer level on Patreon, our highest support tier, and we're infinitely grateful for your thoughtful and kind contributions to our independent endeavor.